World Cup 2026 Final. Could corruption still be hiding behind football's biggest stage? Intro. Imagine this. It's July 19th, 2026. Billions of people around the world are glued to their screens. Stadiums are packed. Social media is exploding. The FIFA World Cup Final, the biggest sporting event on Earth, is about to crown a new champion. For most fans, it's a celebration of football at its finest. But for others, a disturbing question remains. Can we really trust that everything happening behind the scenes is fair? Football has given us unforgettable moments, legendary goals, historic upsets, emotional victories. Yet the sport has also been haunted by allegations of bribery, match fixing, vote buying, and corruption at the highest levels. As the world prepares for the 2026 World Cup Final, some people are asking whether football's darkest secrets have truly disappeared, or if they simply became harder to see. Today, we're diving deep into the history of FIFA scandals, the controversies surrounding World Cup tournaments, and the concerns that continue to fuel speculation about corruption in football's biggest event. This is not a claim that the 2026 World Cup Final is corrupt. Rather, it's an investigation into why millions of people still question the integrity of the sport. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The biggest sporting event on Earth. The FIFA World Cup isn't just a football tournament. It's a global phenomenon. Every 4 years, entire nations come together to support their teams. The event generates billions of dollars through sponsorships, television rights, advertising, ticket sales, tourism, and merchandise. The 2026 tournament is expected to be the largest World Cup ever. For the first time, 3 countries are hosting the event: United States, Canada, Mexico. It will also feature 48 teams instead of the traditional 32. That means more matches, more money, more attention, and more pressure than ever before. Whenever huge amounts of money are involved, concerns about corruption naturally follow. History shows that football is no exception. Chapter 2. FIFA's Troubled Past. To understand why some fans remain suspicious, we need to look back. For decades, FIFA presented itself as the guardian of world football. However, beneath the polished image, serious allegations began to emerge. In 2015, the football world was rocked by one of the biggest scandals in sports history. Several FIFA officials were arrested as part of a massive corruption investigation. Authorities accused football executives of accepting bribes connected to marketing rights, media deals, and tournament decisions. The scandal shocked fans worldwide. People who once trusted football's governing bodies suddenly questioned everything. If corruption could exist at the highest levels of FIFA, what else might be happening behind closed doors? The arrests damaged FIFA's reputation and created a trust problem that still exists today. Even after reforms and leadership changes, many supporters remain skeptical. Chapter 3. Why people suspect corruption. When controversial decisions happen in football, accusations quickly appear online. Sometimes these claims are based on evidence. Other times, they're fueled by emotion. But why are people so quick to suspect corruption? There are several reasons. First, football is unpredictable. A referee's decision can completely change a match. A single penalty can determine who becomes world champion. Second, billions of dollars are at stake. Sponsors, broadcasters, advertisers, and governments invest enormous sums into major tournaments. Third, fans are emotionally invested. When their team loses, they often search for explanations beyond simple mistakes or bad luck. These factors create the perfect environment for conspiracy theories. And during a World Cup final, every decision is examined under a microscope. Matza Chapter 4. The Power of Referees. Perhaps no individual has more influence over a football match than the referee. Referees make hundreds of decisions. Most are routine. Some become historic: a red card, a penalty, a disallowed goal, a controversial handball. One call can alter the destiny of nations. Because of this power, referees often become targets of criticism. Fans frequently accuse officials of favoritism. Social media can explode within seconds of a controversial decision. The problem is that football rules are often subjective. Two referees can watch the same incident and reach different conclusions. This doesn't necessarily mean corruption. It means human judgment is involved. Yet when millions of people are watching, many fans struggle to accept that mistakes can happen naturally. Chapter 5. Has VAR solved the problem? To reduce controversy, football introduced video assistant referee technology, commonly known as VAR. The idea seemed simple. Use technology to correct obvious mistakes. In theory, VAR should increase fairness, but reality has been more complicated. While VAR has overturned many incorrect decisions, it has also created new debates. Fans often argue over offside decisions, handball interpretations, penalty reviews, red card incidents. Sometimes VAR appears to solve controversies. Other times it creates even more confusion. As a result, accusations of bias have not disappeared. They've simply evolved. Many supporters now question not only referees, but also the officials operating the video systems. Chapter 6. The history of match fixing. One reason corruption concerns persist is football's long history of match-fixing scandals. Throughout the world, numerous leagues have faced investigations involving players, referees, and criminal betting networks. In some cases, matches were manipulated for financial gain. Illegal gambling organizations have often been linked to these schemes. Authorities in multiple countries have uncovered evidence showing that organized crime attempted to influence football matches. These scandals demonstrate an uncomfortable truth. Football has been vulnerable to corruption in the past. That doesn't mean every controversial match is fixed, but it explains why fans remain cautious. Trust, once broken, takes a long time to rebuild. Chapter 7. Social Media and Conspiracy. Theories: the 2026 World Cup Final will likely become one of the most discussed events in internet history. Every replay, every foul, every referee decision, every celebration, everything will be analyzed in real time. Social media has dramatically changed how fans consume football. A controversial moment can generate millions of posts within minutes. Videos are slowed down. Frames are frozen. Angles are debated endlessly. This environment often fuels conspiracy theories. Sometimes a mistake by an official becomes proof of corruption online. The challenge is separating evidence from speculation. Not every controversial decision is part of a conspiracy. Sometimes football is simply chaotic. Chapter 8. Follow the money. Whenever corruption is discussed, one phrase always appears: follow the money. The World Cup generates enormous revenue. Television contracts alone are worth billions. Sponsors pay huge sums to associate their brands with the tournament. Host nations invest heavily in infrastructure and tourism projects. With so much money involved, critics argue that financial interests can influence decision-making. Supporters of FIFA respond that extensive oversight now exists to prevent abuse. The truth is likely somewhere in between. Modern football is both a sport and a business. Balancing those two realities remains one of the greatest challenges facing the game. Chapter 9. Could a World Cup final really be fixed? This is the question many people ask. Could the biggest match on Earth actually be manipulated? In theory, anything involving humans can be corrupted. However, fixing a modern World Cup final would be incredibly difficult. Consider the obstacles. Thousands of journalists, multiple camera angles, independent analysts, millions of fans, global scrutiny. A conspiracy involving numerous participants would be extremely difficult to keep secret. The larger the scheme, the harder it becomes to hide. This doesn't mean corruption is impossible, but it does mean extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. Without evidence, suspicions remain speculation. Chapter 10. The Psychology of Belief. Humans naturally search for patterns. When something shocking happens, we want explanations. Imagine your country loses the World Cup final because of a controversial penalty in the final minutes. Accepting that outcome can be painful. For many fans, corruption feels easier to believe than bad luck. Psychologists call this pattern-seeking behavior. People often prefer dramatic explanations over simple ones. This doesn't mean corruption never occurs. It simply means our minds can sometimes exaggerate unlikely possibilities. Understanding this psychological tendency is important when evaluating extraordinary claims. Chapter 11. What to watch for in 2026. As the 2026 World Cup Final approaches, several areas will receive intense scrutiny. Fans and analysts will watch. Referee decisions. Every major call will be reviewed repeatedly. VAR interventions. Questions will arise whenever technology overturns or fails to overturn a decision. Betting markets. Unusual betting activity often attracts attention from investigators. Tournament governance. Financial transparency and organizational decisions will continue to be monitored. Media coverage. Journalists will investigate any suspicious developments. These safeguards make modern football far more transparent than it was decades ago. Chapter 12. The future of football integrity. Football's future depends on trust. Without trust, the sport loses credibility. That's why governing bodies continue investing in anti-corruption programs, referee training, technology improvements, financial oversight, independent investigations. Perfect fairness may be impossible. Human beings will always make mistakes. But reducing opportunities for corruption remains essential. The challenge is ensuring fans believe the results they see on the field. Because once trust disappears, rebuilding it becomes incredibly difficult. Conclusion. On July 19, 2026, the world will watch history unfold. One team will lift the trophy. One nation will celebrate. Millions will remember the final for the rest of their lives. And regardless of the outcome, questions about corruption will likely continue. Not necessarily because corruption exists, but because football's past has left scars that have not fully healed. The sport has experienced scandals. It has endured investigations. It has faced serious allegations. Those events changed how fans view the game forever. Yet football remains the world's most beloved sport. Perhaps that's because, despite all the controversies, fans still believe in the magic of what happens on the pitch. The 2026 World Cup Final may become a story of glory, heartbreak, redemption, or surprise. And while speculation will always exist, the real challenge is distinguishing evidence from rumor. Because in the end, football's greatest victory isn't winning trophies, it's earning trust. What do you think? Could corruption still influence modern football, or is the game cleaner than ever before? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more deep dives into the world's biggest stories. Thanks for watching.